Oh, welcome into the Russ Joy Show. I'm Russ Joy. You figured that out because you're smart. So smart. And it's also the name of the show. Welcome in. We have so much to get to. So much to get to. And I see that there are people who are so happy that the show started after its scheduled time. I know. It's like a blessing. It's like you get to have the sense of community in the comments section before things get rolling. But don't forget, as always, we're going to have the comments going throughout the show. I'm also going to test a couple of things. I was doing this the other day over on Snow the Goalie. I'm going to give this a go. Let's see if we like this or not. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I don't know. We'll see. We like having the comments wider and bigger to read on the screen. I don't know. You guys can let me know. I think it's actually kind of nice, except it blocks part of my setup here. And you know what? I think we're going to, for today, we'll go here. Ooh, I could go tall. That's actually fine. All right. Welcome in. There's a lot to get to today. The Flyers picked up a big win against the Preds on the road. Munetake Murakami happened to score, which is interesting because a lot of people are saying that he's washed and that he's nowhere near as good as Ivan Demidov. And so, okay, well, coming out of that. So Flyers beat the Preds. Dominick Barlow, who apparently has a lacerated elbow, looks like he went to war and like separated his shoulder. I'll show you the image of that in a little bit. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith had quite the reaction to media asking AJ Brown how he felt about not being traded and whether or not he was ever going to be traded. And you know, there's a wonderful Japanese fellow has been posted. The Phillies are apparently interested. He's both a first baseman and a third baseman. I saw something today that he's hitting under 100 against pitches of 93 miles per hour or faster, which doesn't portend very good things. However, what's that? Breaking news. Oh, he's probably going to the Dodgers. I'm surprised. Okay. And then finally, at some point in the show, let's have a conversation about the viral Sydney Sweeney moment. Oh, yeah. We're going to go off the beaten path. We're going to go off the sports path for a second because it has come out. This clip, this interview, it's like a minute and a half. I'll show you like 30 seconds of it if you missed it. The memes have been incredible, but I'll weigh in on it because it is absolutely ludicrous, and I am so excited for it. But I decided that as we get going on today's show, it's been a little bit since we've seen this guy, and I figured I'd bring him on. Intern Andrew's here. Intern, how are you?
Well, it hasn't been that long, has it?
It's been a few weeks.
I think October 3rd was the first and only time that I had ever been on this show. But, I mean...
The only way for you to know that...
You see me at Xfinity Mobile Arena all the time.
You 100% looked that up before you came on.
I did, yeah, because I had to find the link to get back in here.
There you go.
I went back into the Twitter DMs. I'm good, though. Thanks for having me back on.
You know what? I figured it's a fun Friday. Let's have intern on. And we can get started. We'll probably go Flyers. Go Sixers, Phillies, Sydney Sweeney. You hate your hair? Shave it.
I said people hate my... I'll probably get a haircut.
People hate your hair. Where's your hat? Do you want a hat? You have a hat?
Yeah, hold on.
All right, here goes. There goes intern. You have now bullied intern Andrew off the show. You horrible people in the comments. You've done such a terrible... I mean, you hurt the guy's feeling. Chris Freed says intern looks like he had a rough night. Ford says it was a nice wig. I mean, come on now. All right. Please don't tell me his hat's on backwards. His hat's on backwards.
There we go.
Front facing or
now I'm really.
No, that looks worse. That looks significantly worse. Can you flip it to the front? Like, what are we doing here? Go front facing or don't wear the hat. That's a better look. Look at you. That's better.
I'm all pale. I actually didn't even realize I had my Frozen 4 shirt on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were just trying to, show us the torso there for a second. I was
definitely not that.
Look, I'm gonna drop. I'll drop the comments a little bit lower too, so it doesn't cut off as much of your face. What a nice guy. What a nice guy.
That is nice of you.
Yeah,
I'll probably end up getting a haircut. So Saturday will be the last time that you all see me with this hairdo, and then by then I'll have a haircut.
We shall see. All right, let's get into the Flyers last night. Dan Vladar, once again, did exactly what he's supposed to do. Dan Vladar continues to be an absolute bona fide stud. And yes, there was the one game against the Maple Leafs that he got pulled early in the third period after giving up 4 goals. But ever since, he's been back on the horse. He's been back on track. Intern, last night, I know that you're a stat guy. 23 saves on 24 shots faced. That's good for a .958 save percentage. Do you happen to know, off the top of your head, based on how his season has gone so far, where Dan Vladar currently ranks in the NHL in terms of goals against and save percentage? Would you like to take a guess?
Is he first?
He's not. Remember, he had that one game that he didn't play the entirety of the game, 4 goals allowed. He is currently sitting at 2.18 goals against average, which is tied for, well, not tied, which is second in the NHL.
Okay.
His .917 save percentage tied for 5th. What a slacker that Dan Vladar.
Oh,
what a guy.
Logan Thompson's number 1. Okay.
Is he? Good
yes.
for him. Good for him. Vladar. Can we talk about Dan Vladar? How much does it warm the cockles of your heart to see a guy take the net for the Philadelphia Flyers and be somebody that you can actually believe in each and every time he goes onto the ice?
It warms all of the cockles of my heart. Every single one of them. So, I mean, look, the last time that I was here, we talked about, like, I think we basically thought that the sky was falling on, based on what the Flyers goaltending situation was coming into this season.
Correct.
You can't really complain. You can't, a month through the season, they've gotten very, very consistent goaltending, mostly from him. Urson had that 2-game stretch where I thought he was really good. Other than that, kind of blah, but fine. So that's great. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to say it, but like I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Oh, no. Intern,
I don't know.
No.
I don't know that. But
Intern, you can't say that. That makes you just, look, Chris Fried. Like, we're going into the negative. The return to the mean is going to be one hell of a ride in January and March. Hold on. What are we doing? Why do we have to go negative? We don't have to go negative.
But
the Fly Guys, they're having a good start to the season. What are we doing?
I know. But look, I mean, I don't know if he's actually that good or if he's just off to a really, really good start. But like we've seen Flyers goalies get off to good starts before, and then they fall flat on their face. Like when Carter Hart first was dismissed from the team and Urson stepped up. Yeah, all right, hold on. When Urson first stepped up in that 23-24 season, he was fantastic, and you were Mr. Urson. And, and then it kind of like leveled itself out a little bit. So, I mean, I really hope that it doesn't happen with Vladar, but I mean, how many games has he played? Like 8, 7?
He's played more than that. He's been in 9 games.
9,
How dare
okay.
you?
I was off by 1, excuse me.
How dare you besmirch the good name of this man?
But, I mean, the biggest takeaway, I think, from the Flyers so far this season is his penalty kill has been unbelievable. I mean, I think they were tied for first going into the Montreal game. Montreal scored a couple on them, but they were 3 for 3 last night. And, they're 5th in the league right now in penalty kill, penalty kill percentage, which is actually pretty telling when you look at the amount of penalty minutes. Flyers have the most penalty minutes in the entire league. So they're in the box quite a bit, and they're killing them off. So like that if you couple that with the goaltending that they're getting, I think that's your recipe for success, because I actually think the scoring is going to come. I know we'll talk about Michkov in just a second. I think
Flyers PK is 5th in the league at 87.8%.
Right, and it would be higher, but I think they were 2 for 4 against Montreal. So that's it. So it dropped them a little bit, but like I said, if they can maintain that even just a little bit, once the scoring, like I think Michkov is finally going to find his stride. Tip it off after that very strong start. He hasn't scored since October 20th. I think we gotta get him going, and we gotta get Konecny going a little bit. But I thought coming into the season that the Flyers were still at least a year away. I may buy in. I think they can make the playoffs.
What are the things that I said they needed? They needed mediocre at best goaltending. They've gotten significantly better than that. And they needed to show that their power play could be like better than dog doo-doo. And where are they at right now? They're currently in the middle of the table. They're 15th in the NHL with a 20.5 power play percentage. And by the way, like that's, if you really wanted to like crunch a couple of numbers, right? Boston's ahead of them by 0.3%. San Jose is up on them by 0.8%. You're 1.5% behind St. Louis for 12th. To be in the top 10, you got to be around 22.7%. They're right there. This is a power play that also has a new coach, and there's a new head coach, and there are a ton of guys who are on the power play unit who are new to the team or are still trying to build that chemistry. Trevor Zegras being probably at the front of that list. Now, here's a guy. I hate that, by the way, in sports. Here's a guy who knows what to do when he gets into the crease. Here's a guy who knows what to do when he's at the half wall and he's about to get crushed by a much bigger defenseman. Here's a guy who knows how to go over the middle of the field like A.J. Brown, man. It like starts to morph into Gruden. Anyway, the thing is, this power play has been significantly better. Zegras is a big part of that. But overall, Trevor Zegras has been a revelation for this team. And we can get into Zegras, we can get into Michkov. But I would contend at this point right now, Trevor Zegras has been the most important player on the Philadelphia Flyers so far this year, outside of Vladar, who, were it not for sensational goaltending, maybe you're not in as many of these games. Maybe you don't walk away with as many points as you have. But like this year, Zegras is at 15 points in 14 games. That's clearly more than a point per game. He's been sensational.
Team, right?
He does. And like he's been fantastic. Like if you want to be a total jackass, right? And you don't want to, but if somebody wanted to be a total jackass, they could say, well, 15 points. Does that really move the needle a lot? Where does that rank, in terms of the entire league? That has you tied for I think 32nd in the league. That's not a bad company to be in. If you're one of the top 32 performers or top 35 or whatever performers in the NHL in terms of points, you're doing something right. Now, do the Flyers right now have a sniper? No. Would Cutter Gauthier, who currently is tied for the league lead in goals with Sidney Crosby, would he look better in this orange and black than that orange and black out in Anaheim? Sure, he's got 11 goals, and that hurts. 11 goals in 13 games. It's pretty rough. But you find a little bit of solace in the fact that Zegras has had a good start to the year. Some would even say great. Here's the real problem. And we talked about this over on Snow the Goalie Radio on Wednesday. The Flyers are going to have to come up with a contract for Trevor Zegras. And the issue that they're going to run into is, I think the longer they wait, right? Like I would assume that the Flyers are trying to wait this one out. They're hoping, even though they would like him to continue to perform well, they're probably hoping that they can actually get into a place where Zegras maybe hits the skids a little bit, or the pace slows down a wee bit, that he's not as good as a point per game player. And then they could try to negotiate from there. If the Flyers go to the table right now and try to negotiate with Trevor Zegras' camp, to give some perspective, the highest paid forward on the team is Travis Konechny at $8.75 million. Second highest paid is Sean Couturier at $7.75. Owen Tippett's the third highest paid skater on the team. Forward on the team at $6.2 million. Zegras right now is making $5.75. So intern, he's a restricted free agent at the end of the year. How high do you think that number goes? If he keeps up this pace, he's a point per game player the rest of the year. Where's that number? Coming off of 5.75, where he's at right now.
It's wherever he wants it to be. I don't think the Flyers even have a choice, really. Because if they don't re-sign him, what are they going to do? Because I thought that the plan initially was they were going to go attack one of these big free agents in this upcoming offseason. Well, Kaprizov down the drain, McDavid down the drain, Eichel down the drain. So, what are you going to do for a center then? I am pay him what he wants. Because the alternative is you let him walk and then go somewhere else, and now you're left scrambling to find another player as good as he is. I don't know that you're going to find it. So you have a guy as good as him. Why don't you just pay him and then worry about the financials? Somewhere else. Am I wrong about that? I don't.
Well, I think there has to be a cap on it, right? But if he ends up having an 80+ point season, I think somewhere in the $8.5 to $9 million range is fair. Maybe
what
with the raising,
Konechny was making
8.75. But that was a fucking dumb deal.
At least that. Konechny's never had an 80-point season in his career.
No, and so this comes back to frustrations that I just have in general, right? Because when the Owen Tippett contract went down, I said, that seems like a lot of money and a lot of years for a guy that hasn't proven it. You're kind of banking on upside, and you're hoping that he's young enough that he can become that guy. And I think he's 26 now. And then you look at a guy like Konechny, and when they signed him, I said, all right, Konechny is roughly my size. He doesn't have the dad bod that I do, but he's roughly the same size as me. And he plays a game that he's going to get into some physical, situations. By the end of a season, guys lose a lot of weight. They're pretty worn down. So if you're on my frame and you play an 82-game season or an 80 or 77-game season or whatever that he'll play, by the time he's 32, 33, there ain't going to be a lot of tread left on the tires. And so my problem and my contention all along with Konechny's deal was I thought that it made more sense for them in the midst of a rebuild to trade Travis Konechny to get back draft capital and maybe another young player, maybe a change of scenery guy, because it was going to lower the ceiling, lower the floor, right? It was going to give you a better chance of getting one of those high-end players in another draft to pair with a Michkov, right? Eventually to now pair with a Porter Martone. But they're not in that mentality now. They are now very much in this mentality that they're going to try to make the playoffs, which is fine, right? I mean, it's essentially where the Flyers were under Torts. They had this idea of trying to make the playoffs. I'd contend that they have more young players playing meaningful minutes and meaningful roles on this team. And so now I'm okay with them kind of flipping that switch. But man, oh man, that deal, $8.75 million, is a lot, especially if he can't be like a 30-goal scorer. And he's not there right now. He's at, 4 or 5 goals on the season, but he had one last night on an empty net. I think this season he's got at least 2 empty net goals. So, I mean, that doesn't inspire a ton of confidence. Like, even if you look at the numbers on the surface, he's got 5 goals, 7 assists. I am 95% sure at least 2 of those are empty net goals. They all count the same, right? They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Yeah.
But
well,
like,
we're talking about his career
he's
high
been an impact player for this
year.
team, and he's the highest paid forward.
Right. Skill-wise, he's probably the best player on the team. At least I think he is, yes.
I don't think so.
Who is it then?
As an overall player?
Yes, absolutely. Unless you want to like compare a forward to defenseman and like say like
no. Well, if you're going forward in defenseman, I'd say Sanheim is probably a better overall player.
Okay, fine. But I mean, like
for what his role is,
Michkov, I think eventually will get there. But
Michkov isn't a 200-foot player, and he doesn't move his feet a lot, and that's an issue right now. Couturier had a really strong start to the season. If Couturier is healthy, I still think that Couturier has
he's not a better player. He's not a better player.
Is a better 200-foot player than
no,
Konechny is.
He's not.
He is. And then Zegras is playing really well right now, but he's not a defensive guy. I think you could compare them. If you wanted to, you can compare them as like wing versus wing, because Zegras can't win faceoffs and a lot of times ends up kind of playing as a wing at times, at least when he's on a line with Dvorak and Dvorak's taking faceoffs. Is Konechny their best forward? Maybe. I don't think it's like by a significant margin. So anyway, so we take that though, and then we flip this back onto the Zegras argument. He's making 5.75. Konechny's making 8.75 as the highest paid player, or the highest paid forward. If it's me, I'm trying to get Trevor Zegras here for $9 million or so. If the ask right now is $9 million, sign him up. As long as it's not like a 2-3 year deal. If you can get Trevor Zegras at term at $9 million, fine. Cap's going up. Percentage of the cap that it's going to count for, totally fine. No issue. Zegras so far has been arguably your most dynamic offensive player. He's been a guy who seems to understand the city. He seems to be a guy who's thriving on the pressure of the city. Seems to get it. Now, he hasn't had to hit the skids yet, where you fail to produce and the fans get on you. He hasn't had to experience that and try to like work his way back out of that. So there's still a honeymoon phase. But to me, if he is a center, they might think he is, they might think he's not. If he's a center, $9 million for potential top 2 center is going to look like an absolute steal. I mean, even as early as this year, it would look like a steal. Next year, the year after, it certainly will. And even if he's a wing in 2-3 years and he's still producing somewhere near a point per game, or he gets you 75 points in a season, $9 million for a top line, second line wing, I think is probably going to still end up being at or below market value. So like, I don't know why this would even like be a conversation. Oh, do they want to wait for him to cool off before how much money do they think they're going to be able to save?
That was going to be the next question is, are they doing it specifically so that like he has less leverage? Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe. But I think if you're Zegras, you ask for more than you're supposed to get, and then the Flyers, you lowball them, and then you meet somewhere in the middle, and that's generally how it goes. So, if they can keep him under 10, I think if you're the Flyers, you take that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think it's going to be, like a full-on 8-year extension or what?
No, I don't know. 8 seems like a long time. I could see like 5 or 6. You probably feel good about it. I think that like, here's the other tricky thing. If you're Zegras' agent, so I'll get like to this idea from AJ, 9.6 for 7 years. Like that's on the higher end. I would say like on the AAV, that's high. If he is a point per game guy and he plays most of his minutes at center, well then, yeah, you might be getting closer to that number. But the thing is, I wonder how many of these guys who are in line to get an increase in salary, I wonder how many of them want to bet on themselves and take like a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal like McDavid did.
Right.
So that as the cap goes up, how much more is the cap going to go up 5-6 years down the line? If you're a Trevor Zegras and you're young enough, right, and he is, if you're young enough at this point to be able to kind of take that hit, he's only 24. If he were to take a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal around $9 million, which I don't think is good for the team or the player, but let's just play this one out. If he gets like a 3-year deal for $9 million a year and he re-enters free agency at age 27 or 28, I don't know when his birthday is, but he's entering in his prime years, right? Like he would probably stand to make significantly more money than that if the cap continues to go up. So like there's part of me that wonders how many players actually want that long-term deal and how many of them are going to try to go the way of McDavid and try to play this game 2-3 year deals at a time. It's an interesting conundrum to be in, though.
But McDavid is in a whole different like planet.
Yeah, he has the ability to do that. It's just like in the NBA, LeBron and Kevin Durant were doing 1-and-1 deals 1 year with a player option. Like I get it.
I don't think McDavid has to worry about like getting paid. Zegras, I think it may actually benefit him to sign a long-term deal than because like what if he's 28 and he is not able to replicate like this type of season that he's having?
It's fair. Yeah,
right?
I mean,
McDavid doesn't have to worry about that because he knows he's the best player on earth.
The thing the Flyers can't do is they can't. So like when the Flyers signed Konechny, I thought 8.75 was high for the term. And when they signed Tippett to 6.2 for term, I thought that was too long. And I thought it was probably a little bit too much money. They can't get into a position here where they wait another 3-4 weeks. He's still performing at the same pace. And then all of a sudden you find out that they've signed him to like a 7-year, $70 million deal. Because then you go, all right, what does $10 million look like in a few years? Well, if he's a center, it's a steal. If he's a winger, it's still like a good deal if he's a top line guy. At some point, you have to make the business case, and the business case has to work out. I don't know how much, if you go to restricted free agency, I really don't know how much another team would want to offer him and then have to give up compensatory picks, right? Like I can't envision that if he's a point per game guy, you're going to get a team that's going to swoop in this old boys club where nobody ever really seems to go after restricted free agents. And somebody's going to swoop in and say, oh, we'll give him $13 million a year. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. So I guess there is a thought. Maybe you hold on. Like maybe you do hold off because is anybody really going to try to, blow your doors off in the offseason?
The other thing, just like dollars out of I know it sounds stupid to say, but like taking the money out of the conversation, I think he just likes being here.
He's got friends here. York and Drysdale are friends.
That's what I was saying. And we talked to him the night of the draft, right? And he seemed like pretty happy to be like and he's from New York, so I think he likes being back on the East Coast at least. He's a lot closer to his family. And like you said, he was teammates with Drysdale and Anaheim. I think they're friendly. They work out with even when they were on the Ducks, they were working out with Cam York in the offseason. I think he just likes being here. And if they actually keep this momentum that the Flyers keep this momentum that they've had growing year after year under this Briere, Jonesy, Hilferty era, I think it'd be a exciting process for him to join this team as they build themselves back up. Because just in the 3 years that I've been doing Russ Joy Show, I think they've taken significant steps in the right direction. Because remember, this team hasn't been in the playoffs since 2020, haven't had a home playoff game since 2018. So I mean, it'd be fun to get back eventually.
I want to cover a playoff team. I want to go down to Xfinity Mobile Arena. Here's my thing, right? I've been saying this. I just want the place to be full. I want there to be that atmosphere that there was against the Ducks when Cutter Gauthier came back.
Yes.
I want the rivalry games where you get a big crowd and there's still a large enough contingent of Rangers fans that you hate them, and it's just a boisterous crowd. I want that, and I want that in the calendar year 2026, once the Olympics are over and you come back in March and the team is battling for a playoff spot and that place is just raucous. That's what I want. I want to get the team into the playoffs and cover a playoff series. And, I usually scoff at the idea of, once you're in, you never know what's going to happen. But there is some truth to it. And if this team is able to get themselves into some solid playoff footing, they do have some assets that if they really wanted to, with a lot of money coming off the books in 2026, they could get frisky in the trade market at the deadline. It is totally conceivable. And if not, 2026 offseason, they'll clear the books, and there is a lot of money to play with. They'll have to do it through trades because nobody else is alive in free agency for the most part. Now, you mentioned how much Zegras likes being here. I think while he likes being here, I'm not so sure that he likes being here more than Jalen Phillips. The guy that the Eagles went out and got from the Dolphins. This was Jalen Phillips yesterday talking to the media about what it meant to him to be traded from Miami to Philadelphia and play for his former defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Let's go out to Jalen Phillips. How you doing, fella? How are things going? You happy to be an Eagle?
I mean, I thought I was excited at day one. I mean, talk to me now. This is literally the greatest thing that's happened to me in my whole life, probably.
This is literally the greatest thing in my life to happen to me, probably. Okay. All right, we'll take it. Is that pandering? Bryce Harper alert. Woo, 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 woo.
But it's just awesome. I mean, the guys are awesome. Everybody's been super welcoming. I love the environment here. I love the vibe here. The city of Phillies, giving me a very warm welcome. I got about 20 times the amount of Instagram likes that I ever got on a posting before from the Philly fans. So shout out.
We're getting the social media likes. All right, keep going.
But yeah, it's been great so far. Getting out there practicing. I love the weather here. I love the locker room. Everything's awesome.
Okay, hold on a second. Now, I am fine dealing with normal pandering. I am totally fine with a guy saying, hey, I love being traded to Philly. I love the team, the vibe. The fans have given me a warm welcome, more likes on my Instagram posts than ever. I call bullshit when Jalen Phillips says, I love the weather here. Who the hell likes leaving Miami weather to come up here? Is he looking around saying, you know what? I actually have been enjoying the 48-degree days here in Philadelphia. I enjoy that most of the leaves are off the trees. I look forward to the bone-chilling cold. That's what I'm excited about. I can't wait to have to put salt on my front driveway or on my front walkway. That's what I get excited for. Yeah, sure, I could be down in Miami where, everything is rainbows and smiles and nice and warm and cozy all year. No, I love the weather here. Listen, if he is a Four Seasons guy, good on him. Then Jalen Phillips, welcome to Philadelphia. Intern, does your Bryce Harper pander meter go off there or no?
No, because you're on the most dead, maybe other than the Jets, the most dead organization in all of professional sports. Mm-hmm. To go from that team to the defending Super Bowl champions, I would be ecstatic. I might say that also. It's the greatest moment of my life. The weather thing is, wait until he experiences a winter here. He may change his opinion on that. But I'll tell you that I as someone who lived in Florida in the summer, it sucks. So he'll appreciate training. He'll appreciate training camp next year when he's here and not in Florida.
That's if he resigns here. Otherwise, they get a compensatory pick. So you better be careful.
Well, we'll see.
You never. He enjoys the,
But wouldn't you be happy to get the hell out of Miami also? Just as a competitor.
To get off of what has essentially become a train wreck of a team, I probably
just fired the GM, right? Greer?
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been really, really bad. Yeah. Miami's a terrible situation. Tua pretty much actively looks for any excuse to flame his team. Tyreek Hill actually looked like Tyreek Hill kind of looked actually a little bit happy when he got hurt, like that he wasn't going to have to be around. That is very clearly a disgruntled wideout, Tyreek Hill. You know who's not a disgruntled wideout? A.J. Brown. We're going to go out to A.J. Brown because the Eagles are back. Everything is hunky-dory. A.J. Brown was not traded in the offseason. But boy, oh boy, the media, the Eagles reporters down in the locker room, they just had to ask a million questions. A.J. Brown. I think at this point, they're just waiting for A.J. Brown to say, I fucking hate this place. I want everybody to get explosive diarrhea. I don't know what they're expecting. I'm going to go to A.J. Brown. This is A.J. Brown talking to the media about not being traded by the Eagles. If things ever got close, we'll break this down as we go. Here's A.J. Brown.
So what have these last 2 weeks been like for you? I feel like there's been a lot going on between the injury, some trade speculation, or at least talk about it. Just what's it been like for you the past 2 weeks?
Here's the thing. Where's that trade speculation coming from? Did that come from Howie? Did that come from Jeffrey Lurie? Did that come from a team source? I seem to remember that being conversation that kind of sort of started on Sports Talk Radio. But we'll continue. And also Diana Rossini. Well, she's also part of it. Let's keep going.
Out in the front and out in the back of my yard, playing football with my son. That's it.
Did you ever feel like there was a chance you would be traded?
I don't know. I think it's the nature of the business. But like I said, my focus was be present with my family, my kids, and get healthy.
Okay. Did you ever think you were going to be traded? I heard some people today opining that A.J. Brown screwed up because he should have said, no, I never thought I was going to be traded. All right, there's this report from Rossini that was going around. There clearly was some kind of tension. There was tension last year. I've yet to get the feeling that the Eagles are actively shopping A.J. Brown. Is he going to say, no, there was no chance it was going to be traded? No, because he's not in the front office. He doesn't ultimately have control over that. He says he's trying to be present for his family. Okay, let's continue.
Speaking of getting healthy, how are you feeling? Do you think you're trending the right direction for Monday?
I'm playing.
So he's playing Monday. Love that. I want you to watch Devontae Smith right over here because this is about where it's going to get very good. Look for the Devontae Smith reaction.
Is this a place you want to be?
Yeah, well, has I said anything to?
I just want to go back to that real quick. I just want you to Devontae Smith. Is this a place you really want to be? All right, let's go back. Devontae.
Has I said anything to not be here or something like that? Yeah.
I mean,
oh no.
AJ Brown's just like, have I ever said anything that says I don't want to be here? Devontae Smith kind of looks at him like, oh boy.
Gotta ask the question.
Yeah.
AJ.
No, that's actually the thing. You don't have to ask the question. You don't have to ask the question. Do you want to be here? This is where I get so frustrated, right? This is why I feel like I'm going to lose my mind at any given point because you have sports talk radio that is looking for things to talk about. I get it. It's not easy to do a 4-hour shift if there's nothing controversial going on. I get it. I do. Now, could I make the case that perhaps the sports talk radio stations would benefit from, like, I don't know, spreading things around and not just being all Eagles all the time? Yeah. Well, Russ, the ratings are what matter. People are going to tune out if we talk about the Sixers, the Flyers, or the Phillies. I don't know. I would think that if both stations are talking about all the teams, it probably isn't the case. But it's easy right now to just go, Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. Okay, what happened? Somebody took a dump in the janitor's closet. Was it A.J. Brown? Like, that's essentially where we're at. Do you want to be here? Yes, not only did he say he wanted to be here, last year when WIP was like perpetuating this idea that he didn't want to be here, A.J. Brown went on the afternoon show and confronted the host and was like, I want to be here. I like it here. I like the fans. I like that the fans support me. I like my team. I like the org. I like it. This is where I want to play. You go the whole offseason. Or things bad. You remember last year, Brandon Graham says the thing that makes it sound like the relationship between Brown and Hurts might be fractured. And if it is, that sucks. But okay, those are two guys. It doesn't necessarily mean that A.J. Brown hates the rest of his team. Okay. You fast forward. There was some contrived attempts to, like, create controversy out of it in the offseason, in training camp, in the preseason, and throughout the whole season. What does A.J. Brown have to do at this point to get people to stop asking, do you want to be here? Like, what does he have to do? Does he have to get Philly tattooed on his neck? Right? Like, what does he have to do, Andrew? Like, what does he have to do?
So is your beef mainly with, like, talk show hosts or the guy that specifically who asked that question?
It's with all of it.
Because I don't have a problem with him asking the question.
Okay, go ahead. Explain.
Well, it's a legitimate question. And if he said, if the answer
do you want to be here is a legitimate question.
Why is that not legit? Has there not been
Do people have to ask A.J. Brown that every week?
No, but I don't know.
Does anybody ask Saquon Barkley every week? If Devontae Smith doesn't have enough targets, do they ask Devontae Smith every week?
Russ, Saquon Barkley's not tweeting after games.
A.J. Brown posts to Instagram. I don't think he tweets that much.
Okay, whatever.
Don't go after Instagram.
At 1K always open. Like,
That's
what
right.
was the cryptic thing that he put out the other week?
Something about, like, using me without using me.
Yeah, he had 100-something yards and 2 touchdowns in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, why is he posting that?
I wonder if he's trolling. Although I will say this, I don't like when athletes troll. I think that, like, at some point the trolling is no longer funny. Like with Embiid, he was a troll as a younger guy in the league. And then eventually he, like, kind of reined it in. And I think that's smart. It's part of the maturing process. And also he hasn't won jack shit. In A.J. Brown's case, I think he's actually able to do a little bit of trolling because he helped this team win a championship. But I do wonder, like, if there is trolling here, he should probably stop. Now, if he means everything that he puts out and he likes doing the cryptic stuff, that is a problem. That is because what it ultimately does, and where I would make the argument it's bad, is he's not the only one who then has to answer the question. Because then the question goes to the quarterback. and to the other receivers and to the
Yes.
running back and to the line and maybe even the defense and the coaches
And the coach.
and
yes.
the GM and the owner. And like, that's where it gets to be too much. If the idea is he's fine with like kind of causing mayhem a little bit and trolling, that's okay to a certain point.
Right. So
But only
he's
if
gonna
it's
keep doing
limited to
that,
him.
if he's going to keep doing that, then I don't think you can be mad at people for asking him questions about it then. Or talking
They ask
about it on the radio.
Well, I think you ask about the Instagram post, you ask about the tweet. I don't necessarily know if like, listen, Elliot Shore Parks asked the question about, did you think you were going to be traded? And he said, I don't know. It's a business. I get it.
I think that's
do
a
we
reasonable
have-
question.
Do you have to follow it up with? Do you want to be here? Like, why?
Well, because can you imagine if he said
Let me
no?
ask you a question. What's the alternative? AJ Brown says, no, I don't like it here.
That would be news. And the Eagles should probably know.
The trade deadline's over. If he really wanted to apply pressure, if he really hated it here that much, guess what? 2-3 weeks ago, he'd have said, I hate it here. I don't want to be here. I don't like my quarterback. I don't like the coach. I don't like the offensive coordinator. That's what he would have done. If he really didn't like being here, he could have gone absolutely rogue and flamed his team, and he didn't do it. So I don't get it. I don't get what the fixation is on saying, oh, you really want to be here? Like, just stop.
All
Just
right,
stop.
fine. I'll fine. If going forward they continue to push this narrative, then I would lean towards your side of the media's taking it too far. But like, I mean, you also have to remember the Eagles were on a bye week, so there wasn't really a whole lot else going on. I with all of the speculation going around, and you know, the Instagram thing that a couple weeks ago was not the first instance of rumors coming out of that. Right. Remember there was this thing like 2 years ago where like he and Hurts supposedly had a what do you call it? Like a beef, and then they had to like dap each other up in front of the team. Like this has been going on for a while. I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence. With that said, I don't think that means necessarily that he wants to get out of here. But I think it's worth digging into a little bit at least. That's why I really don't have an issue with anyone asking him the question. Now, I will say the Devontae Smith thing, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out. That's a little odd. So
why?
What do you think he was making that face?
He's not making a face about AJ Brown, like saying like, I know he's full of shit. He's making the face of like, oh, there you go, asking the question.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what I read that as, is him going like, oh, you're asking him the question. Oh. Not as in like, oh, you think this guy's telling you the truth. No,
okay. All right.
Now I took it as, oh, look at you asking the question, hot stuff. Like, that's what I think that was. Listen, ultimately, I think AJ Brown is fine. I think the Eagles are going to be fine. I know that you mentioned the relationship with Hurts, but I'll tell you what really hurts. Dominick Barlow's elbow. I cannot get over whatever this is. Like, so the Sixers, intern Andrew, they're also a team that plays at the same time as the Philadelphia Flyers. They're a winter team.
Yeah, same building.
And then eventually into the spring, and then maybe the summer if the gods be good. Dominick Barlow has this lacerated elbow, right? This happened October 25th against the Hornets. He hasn't played since. Does that look like a lacerated elbow to you? He's got a sling. He's got the wrap. He's got like the double wrap and a sling. Why do you need a double wrap and a sling if your elbow is how badly lacerated is it? Where was the elbow lacerated? Is the thought that if his arm straightens out, like it's going to rip the stitches out? Like, is that why he's got it looks like the dude separated his shoulder. Or it looks like, did he body swap with Jaden Daniel and dislocate his elbow? Like, that's what I'd expect for that. A lacerated elbow? That's a lot. Does that sound right to you? Does that look right?
Well, I'll say this. I'm certainly not a physician of any kind. Mm-hmm. So I've mentioned it to you before. I got the flag right here, actually. The Kirk Minahan Show, my favorite podcast on Barstool Sports. They have
here he goes, just trying to get himself on Barstool again. Jeez.
I know. So they had a couple summers ago, they had a basketball team. And there was a guy on the team who used to be Kirk's producer named Andrew Augustus, who actually did do that, lacerate his elbow, and was in a sling for a while. Like, he cut it really, really, really bad. Yeah. So I actually have seen this before.
Yep.
You know, are you you think the Sixers are covering something up or what?
No, I mean, I don't know. It just seems so weird to me that this happened. Like, it seems so weird to me that this is the way that they've gone. This is like, if this is a lacerated elbow, I guess it's fine. I ever remember seeing somebody have like the full wrap and the sling. And for a team that has had so many weird injuries, I mean, you can go back to thoracic outlet syndrome, right? For Markelle Fultz. You can go back to, Ben Simmons, whatever the hell happened with Ben Simmons. You can go back to the sesame allergy that they didn't know about Zaire Smith. Like, this is a team that has just had some of the weirdest medical updates ever. And like, when you hear lacerated elbow, I'm thinking like, oh, he's got a deep cut on his elbow. So maybe that is it. Like maybe the cut's here and they're afraid that if he straightens out that it's got like, maybe it's a deep cut, right? And like, maybe the thought is that like, if his arm straightens out, it's going to like rip, or it's got like, is there a muscle injury there, or is it just a surface? Like, I don't know. It just seems
that
weird.
Can't happen.
Yeah.
I think it can.
So I don't know.
Do you know any doctors on call right now that you can have on?
I might, but I didn't think to like ping them before the show and say, hey, does this look like a lacerated elbow to you? Have you ever put a lacerated elbow into a sling?
Did it happen during a game?
No. Yes, I think it did. I think it happened against the Hornets.
You said October 25th?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was the Hornets. It was a home opener, actually.
But like, he didn't bleed out or anything. So like, that's the other thing that's weird. He has. All right, whatever. This is Dominick Barlow. We wish him well. We hope everything goes well with him. You know, it's a really uncomfortable situation. And I have to tell you, if we're being fair, it does feel like Dominick Barlow, because he's a guy playing for the Sixers, you're bound to have issues with your body. You're bound to have issues. It's almost like it's predetermined. And speaking of predetermined, I think that we can all probably agree within a decent bit of reason that the latest Japanese player to be posted is probably going to go to the Dodgers, right? Like we have to probably assume, because Jeff Passan put out earlier today, Japanese star third baseman, Munetake Murakami. Look at that. How great is that? Wow. Great pronunciation.
Good for you.
Will be posted today, officially starting the process of one of the most anticipated free agencies of the winter. Sources tell ESPN. Murakami's 45-day negotiating window to come to a deal with MLB teams starts now. Here's the thing. If you're the Phillies, does Munetake Murakami get you hot and bothered? I think that, like, if this team is going to make an improvement anywhere, third base is probably a good place to start. And I would also kind of think to some extent that it might not be the worst thing in the world for them to move on from Alec Boehm. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more context, Major League Baseball put out a tweet of their own. They say that not only could he play third, he could play first. The Phillies are not going to bring him to play first. We don't need Bryce Harper to have his feelings hurt again. Says that Murakami will be posted today by Tokyo of the NPBL. Per reports, all 30 MLB clubs will have 45 days to negotiate. He's 25 years old. He was the Central League's Triple Crown winner and MVP in 2022, was part of Japan's World Baseball Classic Championship team in 2023. Now, am I a little bit concerned that like his biggest accolades came 2-3 years ago? Maybe a little bit. Do I think that ultimately he could help the Phillies? I have no idea. What I do know is that if he ends up with the Dodgers, he's going to somehow become like the greatest third baseman of all time. For the Phillies, it seems like the only real options would be like Bregman, who's leaving the Red Sox, Bo Bichette, if he's going to change position, although there's rumors that he might go to the Dodgers. I don't exactly know what to make of any of this. Do you have any hope? Not necessarily in Murakami. Huh?
What about Polar Bear? That's it? Or will Bryce Harper get his feelings hurt if we put him back in right field?
Well, see, that's the bigger question. Because I'm not opposed to Bryce Harper going back to the outfield if you bring in a stud first baseman. That's where I'm okay.
I won't lose sleep if Nick Castellanos has played his final game in Philadelphia.
Well, that would be a lovely thing. I think we can all probably agree that that's not the worst thing in the world.
And I
hate the fact that you called like Pete Alonso's Polar Bear. I didn't know that. What the
hell? How'd you know who I was talking about?
I looked it up. You see how deft that was? That was like really suave and smooth how I did that. I looked it up over here on the second screen.
Really?
I did while we were talking. See, that's skill. Anthony Sanfilippo. When we do trivia time, and Ant like goes, and he looks in front of him. He's looking at the comments section. He is. You should remind him on Saturday to close his laptop.
He definitely does.
He's got to tilt the screen down.
Hold
He won't
on.
get it. He won't get it right. Anyway, continue. Polar bear.
So when I said polar bear and you went meh, that was just buying you time to look up who I was talking about?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. That was genius.
Incredible stuff. And you can see my hands. I have the keyboard and mouse and like.
That was like a perfect, like, neutral reaction to who I was talking about.
Thank you.
So
For a second, I was like, polar bear. I'm like, this guy doesn't think Vladdy's a free agent still, does he? Because that would have been really upset. Like, that would have been very upsetting if you had thought that. Anyway, Pete Alonso doesn't bother me. I'm actually not totally opposed to the idea of Pete Alonso, but I think he's age-wise and production-wise, I don't necessarily see it. And I don't know if that's the guy that you move Harper to the outfield for. My real question isn't specifically about Murakami. I guess my question is, do you have any faith in the Phillies' ability to land a good Japanese player? Like, they reportedly offered more money to Yamamoto. He chose not to come here. There was a report the other day that they tried to bring in another Japanese player, and he ultimately decided, I think, to remain in Japan and play at least the next year. Like, I'm not convinced that they apparently have a really good scout or something, or like head of, player development or whatever in Japan, but they haven't brought a stud over yet. Like, I don't know. Is that an easy lane, do you think, for them to improve?
I would say probably not, just because the Dodgers have built what they've built. So, like, if you're a Japanese player, why wouldn't you want to go there? When you have, first of all, aside from the fact that Ohtani's the best player in the world, he's Japanese. So, like, you have people there to help you, with the language barrier. You have Yamamoto, Sasaki, I think is Japanese.
Sasaki's also there, yeah.
So, like, and they just won the World Series. So, like, if the Dodgers,
I'd be surprised if Freddie Freeman can speak Japanese right now too.
Right,
nothing would surprise me with Freddie Freeman. You just never know.
So, if the Dodgers are saying to you, "Hey, come here, you're going to be our starting third baseman," why wouldn't you do that? So, if that's actually true that the Phillies offered Yamamoto more money and he didn't take it to go to LA, I think that tells you everything you need to know, really. Now, I'm not saying like every single guy is going to have that same philosophy. I'm just saying if I were him, I would probably go to LA also, which sucks, but like that's just the reality of the situation we're in. I'm trying to think off the top of my head the last time the Phillies had a Japanese player.
There was like Sotaguchi.
I was about to say him, but I was like, do we really have to go back to 2008 for that?
I feel like there were one or two other Japanese.
Chanho Park, I think, was South Korean.
When did Iguchi play here? Was that 06 or 07?
That was 07. He filled in because Utley was hurt, I think, right? So he had to play second.
Yeah,
that was the 07 season.
All right,
so it's probably Sotaguchi.
That can't be right. Tadahito Iguchi played in 07-08. Sotaguchi played in 08. Holy smokes. I think that is it. I think is that really the last Japanese player to play for the team? That's insane.
When you think about it, there actually haven't been a ton of Japanese players in Major League Baseball.
Well,
since then.
Yeah, I mean,
there's been a handful.
If you remember, there was a time where everybody thought that if a Japanese player was either going to go to the Cubs or to the Mariners. And I would say that those markets are still both in play. And actually, if you're a Japanese player and you're looking at like trying to win, Seattle had a really good team. Maybe there's a chance there, but like it feels like a lot of these guys are going to want to go to the Dodgers. Yeah. Now,
if you like the World Baseball Classic in 2023, that Japanese team that won the entire thing, their roster that year, I think there was only like a couple of Major League Baseball players on that team. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the really good Japanese players just stay in Japan.
Yeah.
So,
Joe Papel says need a big right-hand bat. Ruben failed when he didn't protect Ryan Howard after letting Worth walk. And he throws out Mike Trout. Absolutely not. If you have Mike Trout, the good news is that Mike Trout, you don't have to plan on the playoffs because Mike Trout will actively be sitting in the end zone waiting for the Eagles to bring him a ball. We're not going to say like a Make-A-Wish kid because that would be offensive, but I will say that it is kind of weird that Mike Trout, a grown-ass man who's friends with some of these guys, continues to just kind of hang out in the end zone and wait for a football. Oh, thanks, guys. Like, why?
I feel like after the first one, it wouldn't be as fun anymore.
I think so, too. Here's the thing.
One football is good.
Here's the thing. Mike Trout won't apologize, right, for being the guy who takes the football in the end zone. Sydney Sweeney will not apologize for the good genes ad, and that's where we're going to wrap up the show today. There's a much longer clip. There's like a 3-minute part from this interview. I think it was with GQ. For those of you who have missed it and you're seeing all the memes and you're like, why is this happening? We don't usually go off the sports stuff here, but this to me was just so ridiculous that like, I have to react to it. Let's go out to this interview with Sydney Sweeney. This is like the face that you've seen everywhere on social media today. Let's go.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like,
this is about the good genes. Sydney Sweeney has good genes that they somehow, whoever they are, capital T, whoever they are, thought meant that she was saying Aryan. I don't know. I actually don't totally understand the controversy. We'll continue. But in this political climate,
that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to give you the opportunity.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
And that set people on fire. That apparently is the thing that led to a lot of people today losing their shit on Twitter. We could re-rack it, but I kind of want to go through this again with the interviewer, because when you're interviewing somebody, typically you want to make some kind of eye contact. And it's almost as if there's like a little initial hedge here. Like the interviewer realizes how dumb this line of questioning is and how nervous they were going to be about coming around. But just one more time.
The criticism of the content.
Criticism of the has good genes ad for genes.
Yes.
Which was basically that.
A play on words.
Maybe specifically in this political climate, like.
Maybe specifically in this political climate. Not making eye contact.
White people shouldn't joke about.
White people shouldn't joke, period. That is Andrew, you cannot joke anymore. No jokes about anything. All right, continue.
Genetic superiority. Like that was kind of.
Did the genes say that they could only be worn by white people? Did I miss that, Andrew? Was there a part of the ad where they said that? I don't remember that being a thing.
No.
Kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I
just have to say, right? I don't lean into a lot of stuff, right? I don't typically go very far out of the sports stuff. Can we all agree how absolutely bullshit that line of questioning is? And how some of the people have... Now listen, if you go on Twitter right now, for every like one or two quote tweets saying, oh my God, I can't believe she just admitted to being a white supremacist again, there are probably one or two saying she is an absolute amazing person and I would love to make her my wife. That's what people are saying right now. It's one or the other. I just don't understand. At what point do we get to a place where something that is not meant to be controversial, a jeans ad, then somehow warrants the line of inquisition, right? Of, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to address. Why do you need an opportunity to address? Does she not have her own social media channels? Does she not have a platform? Does she not have the ability to like go live on Twitter or Instagram or anything else? Like, what did I miss?
Well, I have a couple questions. Number one, like the way that she's asking the question, did somebody else ask her to ask the question? Because the way she's like saying it, she's like, I really don't want to have to do this, but I'm going to power through it anyway.
There's an extended version of the clip that's like almost 3 minutes long.
Okay.
And she kind of dances around because there's another clip where she asks about the fact that Trump apparently like said something about the ad. And she's like, what was that like? And Sydney Sweeney said it was surreal. And that apparently also is triggering to some people. She should have said that she hates his guts and thinks that he's a white supremacist and that he should die. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are these people, like, why are people nuts? I'm going to give you an example, Andrew. Okay. I'm going to give an example on the show. Okay.
Please
There was a time a few years ago where yours truly had a tweet that went viral in which Jalen Hurts stuck his tongue out. And I may or may not have tweeted something to the extent of Jalen Hurts channeling his inner Gene Simmons because he had a long tongue and that was it. I didn't say he was Joshua Giraffe. I said he clearly has a long tongue. He channels his inner Gene Simmons. And Andrew, I will tell you that there were people who wanted to cancel me for the tweet. An innocuous tweet. This was the tweet. Jalen Hurts throws a TD and channels his inner Gene Simmons. #Eagles. And you know what's great about this, Andrew? The discourse around it it was more than 24 hours. It's like 48, 72 hours. My phone didn't stop blowing up for almost a full week. I was trying to teach during the day, And my phone kept going because I wouldn't mute the thread because I was always interested. Who was going to pick it up next? And in the fallout of this, right, I didn't have to sit down with anybody and say, hey, we just wanted to give you the platform to address this tweet. We wanted to give you the opportunity to address what? It's an innocuous tweet. Now, did I learn about the Divine Nine after that, Andrew? Yes, I did. Did I learn about Black fraternities? Yes, I did. Am I going to get an honorary membership in any of them? I am not. Somebody actually did ask that night. They were like, can Russ get an honorary membership? And one of their alumni said, no, I don't think that's going to happen. And I was a little bit wounded. I was. Sometimes people make an innocent mistake, or sometimes people do things that aren't meant to offend. And yet there are people who are always looking to be offended by something. And so I guess my point to wrap up the show on a fun Friday is sometimes a nothing burger really is a nothing burger. And sometimes an ad is just an ad. And you don't have to read into it because it's not promoting something that you kind of want it to promote.
I was actually thinking about it this morning.
Oh, were you?
When I saw that. I didn't see the whole thing, but that 20-second thing you played, I watched this morning. I go back to that jeans ad. Like, you have to like really, really try hard to be offended by that.
Yes.
You gotta work at it. Like, that's not one you can just stumble into being offended by. I remember when it first happened, I was reading that she was in trouble, and I had to watch the ad like 5 times just to figure out what people were upset about. I legitimately didn't even get it. Yeah. And then like going back to that interview, like, do they think that Sydney Sweeney wrote and directed that commercial? I'm pretty sure
I can't imagine
gave her a bunch of money to get half naked and wearing their clothes, and that was it. Right. I don't think that like Sydney Sweeney was in the director's room and was like, you know what, this is not pro-Nazi enough for me. We gotta
yeah, like
we gotta amp this up a little bit.
You know what? I'd actually like that instead of using a pun here, I think that we should just put a thing in here about like some white supremacy tropes. I think that would actually make the ad better and probably resonate. Like, what are we doing? It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. But then again, the world right now is pretty damn crazy. So,
by the way, that's not your most offensive tweet, by the way.
I don't know what my most offensive tweet is.
It was.
We don't have to. Whatever this is.
No,
you don't have to talk about it on the show.
Would you like to take this time an opportunity to apologize to the LGBT community for suggesting the Flyers should trade Scott Laughton?
That was it. That was a tweet.
Would you like to apologize for that right now?
I think that if there's ever a time I want to apologize about my opinion on a player's performance on the ice or the field or the court, you'll know if I want to address it, if I have something to say.
But remember, I gave you the ultimate spin zone, and it was that Scott Laughton had already done so much work for the community in Philly. He needs to be traded to Colorado in exchange for Nathan McKinnon.
Correct.
So he can spread his message of love and inclusivity to
Colorado, and also pass off the mantle to somebody else on the team to pick up where he was, and he could just keep going around. That's a great point, Andrew.
Yeah, Colorado, a famously conservative state. I think they need him.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Well, this has been something.
It's been real, and it's been fun.
It's been fun. It's been real fun. Thanks for being here on a Friday here on the Russ Joy Show. I will talk to all of you along with intern Andrew at 12:30 on Saturday. 12:30 on Saturday, we will go live with the Press Row Show down at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Flyers are taking on the Senators, Claude Giroux, and the Ottawa Senators. Again, we will start that show at 12:30. Puck drops at 1 o'clock. Get excited for some Flyers hockey. Do we know who's in net? Will they go back to Darth Vladar? Wear your Darth Vladar shirts to the game, by the way, if you haven't. If you've
it's Star Wars night tomorrow, right?
It is, which is why the Darth Vladar shirts are great. I will tell you, I have yet to see a shirt better than Darth Vladar from the Snow the Goalie shop. Shop.snowthegoalie.com. So go check it out. All right. Big thank you to everybody who watched live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Big thank you to everybody who listens to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Until Monday, this has been the Russ Joy Show, and I've been Russ Joy, but you knew that already because you're smart, and it's also the name of the show. Have a great day, everybody. Have a fantastic Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you on a marvelous Monday before the Eagles take the field on Monday Night Football. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye now.